talking about relating decimals and fractions to the tenths and hundredths place. So what I would do is I would start with my number line, and here I've rotated my math notebook to the horizontal, and I have a number line drawn here, and I have two increments. And so we're going to start with counting by whole numbers. Our students can count by whole numbers. We're going to start with our first whole number of 0, and we're only going to count to the whole number of 10. So I would tell my students, if I'm counting from 0 until 10, and I have 0 over here and 10 over here, and I went splat right there in the middle, and of course they would tell me that's 5. And so then I would say, well, what are the whole numbers in between here? So if I went backwards 1, if I subtracted 1 from 5, what whole number would I be at? And it would be 4. And if I subtracted another from there, 3, and another from there would be 2, and another from there would be 1. So now I have my whole numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on this side. And of course the student's very easy. With our number line of whole numbers and talking about the tenths, you will want to have a sheet of paper folded into thirds, using that academic language of thirds, or burrito, but thirds. And you'll want a number line right there on it. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about, we're going to be breaking up our whole numbers into tenths. And so what I'm saying is I'm going to take this number right here, and I'm going to have the 4 right here, the whole number 4 right there, and the whole number 5 right here. But we're talking about if I have $4, again, refer back to money, and $5, and I over here, and I went splat right in the middle, how much money would I have? That's right, I would have, and I would want to break out my money. I don't have any here with me, but here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 whole dollars, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dimes, or 5 tenths. So I have $4.50, or 4 and 5 tenths. So I'm going to go ahead and write that there. And you may want to show them with the money how that looks, 4 and 5 tenths. And so that they have an understanding that this is 4 whole dollars and 5 dimes, or 5 in the tenths place. So what I'm saying here is, then again, is referring back to money, is $4.50. And if I'm saying it as a decimal, if I say it correctly as a decimal, I have 4 and 5 tenths. So if as I showed you a moment ago, you have 4 wholes and 5 tenths, or 5 in the tenths place. So is another good way to write that fraction. Again, writing exactly what you say. So go back to money again and ask the student, say, okay, $4.50. If I took away 1 dime, how much money would I have? So refer back to your 4 whole dollars and your 50 cents. And if you removed 1 dime, what would that look like? That would look like $4 and 4 tenths, or 4 dimes. And so then we would have 4 wholes and 4 tenths of a dollar, or 4 tenths of an entire whole dollar. Again, go back to your money, because it's just great. Just remember that we've already talked to the students about this secret 0 that's here, so it kind of reminds us what the money would look like. So we're saying this is $4.40, but a way to think of it is, if we take away another dime, we have $4.30, or 3 dimes, which are 3 tenths. 3 tenths of 1 whole. So again, we're going to say it and write exactly what we say. So we have 4 wholes, or 4 and 3 in the tenths place. And then again, we're going to look back at this at the $4.30 and say, okay, I took away another dime. So I have $4.20 or 2/10. Remembering that secret zero that's there. So I write what I say when I say my fraction, or write my fraction. I have 4 wholes and 2/10. Whole numbers into tenths, and now using our same sheet of paper we're going to break them down into hundredths. So I have chosen 4 4/10 and 4 5/10, and we're going to zoom in and break those apart. So here we go, we have our number line on the inside here, and I'm going to be using 4 4/10 here at this side of the number line. And I could have chosen any number. I could have done 4 2/10 and 4 3/10, but I just chose this one here. And on this side, I'm going to be choosing 4 5/10. And I want to see the hundredths that's in between here. So again, referring back to money, because usually we all know money. So $4, and don't forget that secret zero, which now in the hundredths, it's not a secret anymore. We need it because we're breaking down into the hundredths, but we'll talk about that in just one second. So $4.40 and $4.50. So if we said $4.40 and $4.50 and went smack right there in the middle, what would we have? What would be exactly half? Well, half would be $4.45 would be half of $4.40 and $4.50. And now is a time when we're saying, okay, well, let's see what this looks like. And so as we see what it looks like, this is when you break out your money again, and I'm going to set it right up here this time. Here we have one. About money is that we have, we're using dimes because it takes 10 whole dimes to equal 1 whole dollar. And then we're talking about pennies because it takes 100 pennies to make 1 whole dollar, 1 whole dollar. So we usually really understand this, that here I'm representing $4, 1 whole, 1 whole, 1 whole, 1 whole, 4 wholes, and 4 dimes and 5 hundredths or 5 ones or pennies. So the students usually understand that. So now if I say to the students, okay, I have $4.45, and I would read this as a decimal now, 4 and 45 hundredths, because this 5 is ending in the hundredths place. This ends in the hundredths place. So if I take away one penny, I'm just taking away 1 hundredth, I now have $4.44 hundredths. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes. So let's go ahead and write that down. 4 wholes, and that's my decimal point. 1, 2, 3, 4 dimes or 4/10, and 1, 2, 3, 4 pennies, which is 4 hundredths because it ends in the hundredths place. So now again, I can go ahead and say this again. I can look at the 4 44 hundredths, and I can take away another penny. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes with 1, 2, 3, 4 dimes and 1, 2, 3 pennies, which means that I have 4 and 43 hundredths because it ends in that hundredths place. I can also go back and go ahead and talk to the students. I can do this, either finish all the decimals and then talk about a fraction, or I can go ahead and do the fraction at the same time. I usually like to do it together because I like to have that, putting it together like that. So I can look back here and say, remember we said we had 4 wholes, which we do, and we had 45 hundredths. So 45 out of 100 total pieces. Over here, I have 4 and 44 hundredths. So again, I write my fraction exactly what I say. I have 4 and 44 parts out of 100 total. Here, I have 4 and 43 hundredths. So I have 4 and 43 parts out of 100 total pieces. Now I can continue in this fashion. Now I can say, okay, so if I have, referring back to money, if I have $4.43 and I take away one more penny, how much money do I have now? Usually they start getting the hang of this now, and they will tell me I have $4.42. Now I'm going to say it as a decimal because that's how I say it as money, but I want to say it as a decimal. We can say it as money. I always refer back to money because they do know how to count money, always. We can even draw a representation for this fraction. So for example, if I wanted to draw a representation of, let's say we have right here, we have 4 and 41 hundredths. I could use 1, 2, 3, 4 flats. If we were using the place value blocks or money, this is what it would look like. And then we would have a decimal point. So this is our ones place. This is our tenths place, and this is our hundredths place. So this is a good place to do this. And so here I would have, I have 40, remember, so I have 4 longs because they're 10 rods, which represent 10, which is what I had here, tenths. And then I could do 1 100th. So I like to do it as a very large dot because if you start drawing all these squares, then you can't really tell what's going on. So this is one way to represent. Loca, divertida, agua,